Good evening. This is our news bulletin for tonight. Premier Tokitalangi expresses that he is happy with the national recurrent budget that was passed after one day of discussions and the transformation process. A national stakeholder consultation was held this week for the Pacific TVET project. Private sector and utilities personnel training held this week for installation and maintenance of solar energy power technology to the national power grid. The theme for the SPC's CRGA meeting has been announced as NIWA prepares to host the meeting in November of this year. The NIWA Legislative Assembly has passed the 2015 to 2016 budget after the Public Accounts Committee deliberated over the budget for 5 weeks before returning with a report tabled in the House. The majority of the members of the Legislative Assembly recorded 12 votes in support of the budget and 2 members voted against it. A number of opposition members voiced concerns in the hasty manner in which the budget was tabled for discussion, but Minister of Finance Premier Tokitalangi says he was pleased with the budget and the report to the Assembly.
I was very pleased. The PSC had done their job. We had endorsed their report. We therefore agree that the budget should continue the way it was. What some people in the opposition was wanting was to us to repeat what the PAC had done. And in essence, that's not what we're there for. Our discussions on the budget should necessarily be about policies and what we intend to do with the future. Nobody read the document in the sense that if the donors are doing this, and when are we going to have those things? Because there was a budget of about $10 million, I think, or so. And that's where they should be paying focus to. The recurrent budget is the recurrent budget, paying you, maintaining your gear, all those things and so on. So it's not the financial year hasn't finished, so but I don't expect it will be very different from what it was. Normally, if problems there occur, then we'll have a cash flow problem. We don't have a cash flow problem, Prisma. We have people who are not paying their debts, and therefore Michael Jackson and other people are subsidizing them with their power and so on. So we need to collect that revenue and use it maybe to improve our road or seal part of the road. Half this year to use that southern side or northern side, whatever it is. Seal it properly. Money is there. It's just that we need to collect it. We've talked with the bank to see whether they can help us.
Members of the Legislative Assembly acknowledged the extensive work by the committee with the report that was returned to them for endorsement. And another issue that was raised in the Assembly during the budget talks was the transformation process of the public service. Premier Talangi explained that this is an ongoing process and is making gradual progress with changes.
With respect to the transformation, for example, is the fact that we're expecting and are in pursuit of ATM machines being brought here. Now, our banking systems at the present moment have changed so much. Nobody would have told me that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we would have had this, that you can actually go on internet bank. You can transfer money to your account in New Zealand, or you don't have to. Your Q bank account in New Zealand, you go and draw your money out. You use your debit card here, you use it in New Zealand. This is one of the biggest, I believe, convenience for our people here.
The NIWA recurrent budget was discussed and passed by a majority in the NIWA Legislative Assembly within a day, and it has been noted that this has been one of the quickest budgets to be passed. A 2-day national stakeholder consultation has been held on Island this week to identify the vocational training needs and identify gaps for sustainable energy and climate change adaptation. The European Union-funded project that started in August of 2014 is a 4-year joint collaboration between the Secretariat of the Pacific Community and the University of the South Pacific. The project aims to enhance the technical capacity of 15 Pacific ACP countries to respond to sustainable energy and climate change adaptation challenges. A wide range of government, private sector and community representatives were involved in the consultative workshop. The main objective was to bring stakeholders involved in TVET education, energy and climate change related sectors to identify priority needs.
Some of the major needs that have come up is in terms of training towards installation, but not just installation of, for example, for solar power energy, not just installation, but also maintenance of these equipment. That's one of the major things that came up. And across, not just for solar, but in terms of plumbing, electrical appliances, training on actual maintenance to ensure that, from previous experience, they've had equipment that's been brought in and then they've installed and left and then there's no one to maintain it. So those sorts of issues came up. Also in terms of on-the-ground actions with communities, we were looking at traditional knowledge, traditional responses to disasters, actually coming up with some sort of training or programs to actually develop and in terms of building the resilience of communities to the issues of climate change. So those were sorts of interesting things that came out of the workshop. I guess that's also, in terms of these programs, most of these programs that are being offered are quite expensive. So one of the issues that came up was the offer of scholarships also. And so the main purpose of the project is to actually build the in-country technical capacity. So that's something that we have to look into as well in terms of offsetting the expensive costs of these types of programs. And also, in terms of the school, at Niue High School, normally students go up to year 13, and it's mainly more academic focused. It's something that came up. And for vocational training, they normally go to New Zealand. So that is something also that we would like to look into in terms of equipping the institutions that are available to actually offer these types of programs in country.
According to Leanne, although there have been several climate change and sustainable energy-related projects and plans developed in the past, this is not attempting to reinvent the wheel, but to complement what already exists and identify the gaps in technical vocational education needs. The consultation ended today with an expectation that needs identified will be reflected in a regional report that will specify newest training needs as part of the PAC TVET project. Private sector and utilities personnel are being trained for certification to install and maintain solar energy power technology to the national power grid. Niue is part of a low-carbon project that looks at promoting renewable, sustainable energy activities that also includes Tuvalu and Nauru. We caught up with the group today to see how their sessions were going.
There's a lot of solar systems that have been installed in Niue over the last couple of years, and the IUCN and GEF have funded a project to try to encourage more solar to go in by private enterprise. So that is actually where the funding for the project has come. So therefore the purpose of this course is to teach people how to install a system and how to maintain a system. And as part of the program, we will be installing a 5 kilowatt system on stone villas next week.
The Low Carbon Islands project was launched in 2013 to encourage households in the Pacific to be active participants in the energy market.
This is just one step in the future. In case you're not aware, there's an EU project at the moment to build capacity for training across the whole Pacific in renewables over the next 4 years. So our company is also working on that. So we see this as part of the long-term building block of building capacity.
The in-country training that started this week will take participants through a 9-day course where they will be tested at the end and then certified for solar installation and maintenance. Solar technologies are upgraded over time and therefore technicians need to have refresher courses to keep up with these changes. Niue is preparing to host the 45th meeting of the Committee of Representatives of Governments and Administrators of the Secretariat of the Pacific Community in November, and a theme has now been selected. A public call out for submissions was announced earlier this year, and 10 potential themes were received from the public. The winning theme, Resilient Pacific Peoples, Turning the Tide on Vulnerability, celebrates the strengths and opportunities our region has to offer to build resilient futures and acknowledges the many challenges facing small island developing states. In a press release, the Niue Organising Committee and SPC announced that they felt that this theme perfectly captured what is envisioned for the upcoming CRGA that will be held here in Niue from the 2nd to the 5th of November this year. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening.